Good morning, it's Sue from Seemingly Lawson Quilts or Susan Lawson Quilts. I'm going to show you actually how I quilt ghost flying geese on these blocks which are on the border. Actually, if you wanted to, you could do the entire length of the border in one start and stop. So first I'm going to tell you how to determine the center of your block is not by measuring this way, but actually if you take from corner to corner and do a diagonal, make a little mark and another little mark. So now I've determined my center. I'm also going to come down here to this block and do the very same thing. This is actually just a chalk marker. I think people use these for dressmaking, clothing sewing. It's very easy, you just brush it away when you're done. And the reason why I'm using that, I usually like to use the purple air erasable marker, but with this one, you wouldn't be able to see it. So that's why I use the chalk. I'm going to start over here, take a couple of stitches, go, and run along the top here. You can see I've already done some of the flying geese on this border. Now, I'm going to take and line up my ruler. When you're thinking about quilting against the edge of a ruler, I have a 1/4 inch hopping foot here. So actually the center of my needle is here, but my ruler is over here. So when you're looking at the center of your block, which is right here, you don't want your ruler directly against that center spot, but actually accommodate it by a 1/4 inch for that hopping foot. So we're going to start sewing. And we're going to hit that center spot right there. And then come down. Again, my ruler is just a 1/4 inch off from where I want my needle to be. So you see my needle hit right at the corner of that block, but my ruler wasn't right there. It was a 1/4 inch just away from it. Now I'm going to travel up along this line, and I have to make the bottom of the flying geese, or the triangle, right along here. Now, how do I determine where the center is? So this is where you start using the etchings on your ruler. And what I like to do is to take, I think I have to flip it over here. There we go. And line this 45-degree etching on the ruler to my stitching line. So if I just line that up, and you can see there's a little bit more than a 1/4 inch there, so I'm going to go up a little bit, and now I've got a 1/4 inch from the very center to my ruler. I know that it's straight because my etch line is against my seam line, and then just go right on across. And you can see I hit that point just beautifully. Now, the next part that we have to think about is where the center, where the center of this block is for the peak of our flying geese. And the way I like to do that is to take and look at this 45-degree line here, line it up with the 45 on my block. This time I will dead center it because I'm not accommodating for a hopping foot. I am just merely trying to find my center point. So make a little mark right there, and I know that that is the center. I will line up my ruler, leaving a 1/4 inch, not right on the center, but a 1/4 inch from the center. Come down, and again, down. And then travel along this side. Now I'm going to stitch in between the blocks here. And we're going to repeat the same thing. So bring my ruler down, 1/4 of an inch away from the center. Hit that center spot, 1/4 of an inch away from the corner. Hit that corner just nicely. Come back up. And I have to determine where my horizontal line is going to fall. So I'm going to take and line up this 45 with my seam line. It's a little hard to see. Leaving 1/4 of an inch from the center to the ruler to accommodate for the hopping foot. You can see, boom, we hit that center. Okay, and now I need to determine where my mark is here. So use this edge line to my seam line. Make a little mark. Hit that center. And right there. Now I'm going to fill. First I'm going to come down and this line. And I'm just going to do like 1/4 inch straight line sewing here. Really, you don't have to use the ruler for this. I mean, if you wanted to freehand this, you certainly could. I just like to keep them nice and straight. Now I'm going to take this ruler. I'm going to keep 1/4 inch away up at the top here. I'm not going all the way to the very tip of the flying geese. 1/4 of an inch away over here so that my needle hits right where I want it, not off of it. And here we are again. Now we're going to go straight line stitching. I apologize, it's kind of hard to see on this red. Right there to the corner. Now when you're using a big ruler like this, make sure that you're not holding it on the opposite side. Make sure you're holding it close to where the needle is. If you hold it over here, it could get loose and floppy and actually slide up underneath this hopping foot and do damage to your machine and your needle. And here we go. Straight line stitching, about 1/4 of an inch away. If you wanted to do this freehand, all you really needed to do is just watch the edge of this hopping foot and keep it right along the edge here. I've just gotten so used to using rulers. That when I'm doing something like this, I like to keep my lines straight. Sometimes they can get a little wonky. So again, make sure that you're supporting your ruler close to your needle. We are coming to the end. And we're right back where we started from. A couple stitches. Snip those off. And there you have it. All in one stop and start. So if you were, I mean, my throat space here is like 18 inches, but I could seriously just roll my quilt along as I was doing it and not even have to stop. So let's take a peek at what the underside of this quilt looks like. I think it looks pretty cool. And there's the underside of the flying geese. So, okay, thanks for watching. You guys have a great day.